Pisces. We're here. We're doing your June 2024 Intuitive Tarot readings. I'm MJ. I'm the founder of Ultra Love, longtime yoga teacher, meditation teacher, and I started reading tarot for people back in 2019. I've got loads of content on the internet. Feel free to tune in, like, subscribe, and most importantly, I hope it's all going on. I know that we're all building up. There's a lot of I would say kind of heightened spiritual energy coming through for the collective paradigm shift. You know, we're all in it very much here. Divine guidance and loving clarity for my Pisces. Divine guidance and loving clarity. You guys might be focusing on money. I did see a 10 of Pentacles there. You might be getting really, really intuitive with your cash flow and wanting to make more money maybe. Yeah, look, you're looking around at opportunities. I feel like for some of you, you might be actually like applying for work, looking for work, and then, you know, messaging people where you might be traveling. You might move somewhere for a job. You're definitely looking at different options and more than likely making these applications. And again, you feel really intuitively guided here. Let's get the energy for the High Priestess. This is like a major shift in your awareness or your spiritual awareness. There's a lot of reflectivity going on with that Four of Cups here, like reflecting on things, feeling into things before making a choice. It's like integrating some of the intuitive lessons to then apply those lessons. So some of the departure energy, like as in I've got to look at different options. I've got to apply for things. I've got to put myself out there. I've got to maybe communicate or express my needs to people to be able to move to calmer waters. This could be to do with a love situation as well. As in, if a love situation is not working out, you're like, I think I've got to, you know, focus on my career to move on. There is a sense of melancholy. Four of Cups, I often get a kind of low vibratory, plus Two of Cups reversed. There's maybe via love relationships, you've learned some lessons about your own integrity, maybe. Hence, offering you clarity about the direction you want to go in. And again, like integrating intuitive lessons about the relationships, the people, and the way you've been interacting up to this point. Because the new energy coming in for you this month is the sense of like, okay, I've got new opportunities, I've got new pathways that are opening up, and I'm going to look at these different pathways and inquire or message or send an application. I'm hearing retreat for some of you. For some of you, you're maybe applying to work on a retreat, or maybe applying to go on a retreat, like a meditation retreat. Okay, so for some of you, it's a little maybe deeper or heavier with regards to seeking help, messaging counselors, mentors, healers. It's like you're wanting to move forward, but there could be a sense of like moving forward triggers the sense of like, it's never going to work out. I'm hearing, for a while, listen to someone called Chris Peck from Minnopod Tarot, and he would call the Five of Pentacles, like, don't draw attention to your weaknesses, or be aware of stinking thinking, you know, where we're moving forward and then our mind goes down a train of thought that triggers a sense of like, oh, it's never going to work out, or I'm never going to be successful. So be mindful of those like energies, those thought form that come up, right? As in failures, or failures in quotations, because I really kind of see it in that unified field where a failure is a learning. And so it's not actually a failure in the way that we might perceive a failure or feel a failure. It's it's a way for us to learn more about who we are and about who we want, right? So recognize that things that didn't work out, or things that felt like a failure or like a lack of success, is pointing toward a wounding of not belonging, or not being worthy, or not fitting in. Belonging, same thing, right? Like, I don't deserve to be part of that group, or people are never gonna like care. But yet you're moving to calmer water. So to me, this is like a not a warning, but yeah, like a kind of, be mindful of that stinking thinking. Be mindful of moving forward, and then all these doubts come in, or all these fears are triggered. Again, they're based on past experiences, but the Five of Pentacles is in the upright, which tells me there's still wounding to clear. So it's like looking at our options and intuitively choosing to move in a direction. Know that it's okay if doubts and fears and worries come up. It's I think it's part of the human experience. Living in the unknown expands the awareness, and it can flood us with a bunch of like insecurity and fear and worry, and yet it's through that gate. That's part of that, you could say, initiation or initiatory process, is to have the courage to step into the unknown, because you're your faith, you're your hope, you're your trust, right? You're your one source connection to all that is, right? And so it's following that divine spark that helps us to learn about the truth of our own security and the truth of our own grounding, to absolve and or transform our perspective around past experiences. Because in essence, everything that we are in the here now is all that we have ever been, as far as like the container of existence that we are embodying, right? So and I do feel like there's like you're like looking at your options, you're like, okay, let's move in this direction, move in the direction, doubt, fear, insecurities, and eventually overcoming those inner conflict, overcoming those inner battles, being able to feel like, okay, I'm ready for the new beginning, I'm ready for new love, I'm ready to make an offer, I'm ready to reach out to that person, I'm ready to accept love into my life as well. Some of you might be leaving a group of friends behind, as far as like if you are moving a job. But again, this is a positive. There's a lot of like things that didn't work out. Friends we're not really like jiving with. It's this sort of vibe where you're like, I've got to look at different options here. I've got to look out, and then finding an option that appeals to you, making that happen, putting that message forward. Because for some of you, moving forward, facing these fears, facing these doubts is really going to help embrace new love, and then possibly invite more romantic energy as well, or you're going to embody more of that romantic energy. Something about releasing as well, like unstable foundations, refining. There is this rising. I think really what you're moving toward is a greater sense of security and autonomy. And the movement forward, facing the fears, embracing new love, could really bring in greater benevolent support, whether you're embodying more of that nurturing, abundant energy, like wealth, feeling wealthy regardless of how much that looks like, but feeling on top of your wealth, feeling on top of your material reality. And I think because you're moving through some of these changes, part of what you're tempering or releasing or letting go of is a lack of a foundation, i.e. not quite aligning with the people we're creating foundations with, or not quite enjoying the work we do, and so it's not going to be sustainable, or even our dietary choices. But it is very much to do with laying foundations, like preparing the soil for seeding, where it's like you're having to turn that soil a little bit more before starting to lay the garden down. And again, mentally, like I would say mentally this would resonate. Like you do know this. Like you're like, yeah, I gotta just refine this, and I've got to tweak this, and or go in this direction, or distance myself from certain people. So now let's look at the final messages, the final energies for Pisces for the month of June. For the month of June in Pisces, a very clear message here with the Two of Cups in the reverse, Pisces. Some of you are having to heal a relationship. Hence distance or movement, right? Where we've maybe had disappointments in the past, right? And of course, the Five of Pentacle would be those of us with the awareness that are healing childhood wounds. These are long-standing karmic wounds. They connect to our intergalactic or interstellar beingness, and yet they're right here in the present moment in this lifetime. So healing these chironic wounds, the things that have us sabotage relationships, the things that have us feel like we don't deserve them. If we have a lot of rejection and abandonment wounding, we can often repeat cycles where we run away from things, or we choose inappropriate partners because subconsciously that's all we know, or that's what we feel we deserve. And so there's a deep psychological healing taking place as Chiron transits through Aries for all of us, because Aries is that initiatory sense of self, the divine spark within all of us that initiates our own existence. So knowing that sense of self is deeply important for all of us at this time, because it's part of, again, the Aquarian age. We have to know the self to congregate in unity. We have to be that loving to be able to honor all the differences and all the grievances, to heal those grievances, to evolve our common ground kind of thing, so that it's a much fairer playing field, right? So these healing these relationships, which is always seated in the relationship with self. How we're relating to ourselves is part of that sort of divinely coordinated constellation of who we come into circle with, right? Or communion with. The source. And amazing. But yeah, some of you definitely are like, I got to make some moves. I got to make some changes. I got to feel more secure in myself. I want to feel better in myself, so that moving forward, either I renew a love relationship that's long-standing that wants to be renewed, or we're releasing a love relationship to move forward to embrace a higher love after healing inner conflict, right? Feeling unworthy, abandoned. There's definitely a lot of twos coming up as far as like dissolving unstable foundations and presenting yourself with different options and opportunities, possibilities, right? And then there's this message, the sacred geometry message always gives me a sense of like trusting in the divine, like it's all sacred, basically. It's all held, it's all supported. Hence the feels, remember that intuition. Okay, so for some of you, the Three of Cups reversed, for some of you, there is an energy of toxicity coming through, as in part of the move could be because we're partying or drinking too much, or like you might be in certain patterns which you just know are like draining you, exhausting, and hence I'm like, oh my god, I've got to make a change. I got to go do, hence, remember I got that retreat. Some of you might be retreating, rehab, stuff like that. Yeah, so for Pisces, right, the Pluto's entering your 12th house, potentially. And, I'm thinking, I know it was entering my... Anyway, the 12th house is the Piscean house, actually, but it's the behind the scenes. It's like hospitals, spiritual retreats, places like rehab and is it prisons? I think it is. But it's these sort of behind the scenes institutions, a higher spiritual call, that kind of thing. So there's definitely an initiation here of developing some of your spiritual gifts and or opening up to them, or transforming some of your deeper kind of psychological wounding, and or your desired projection, because again they all go together. It's all a kind of unified field of creation that we're existing in. And the part of the retreat or embracing new love for you in this reading is to start to move away from toxicity, whether it's people, substances, your own stinking thinking, and aligning with those higher ideals, or ideals of, again, a quantum regenesis, the fact that we are all these eternal quantum beings. We align with those universal codes, as it were, and we become a greater light of that expression, of that regenesis expression. So yeah, embracing new love, making moves, sort of seeking out new opportunities, or communicating, sending applications, because you're aware that substantial changes need to be made, and certainly healing your relationship to self in order to heal your relationship with other. And these are important relationships. These are our one-to-one relationships, our intimate love relationships, our familial relationships, our really close business partnerships, that kind of stuff. So I mean, it can be client and audience as well for some of you. And that could connect to the work, right? So you might be making new moves with the work, hence all the fears and the doubts. But this is about evolving the kind of people you work with, or the kind of people you work for as well, because you're wanting to heal these inner conflicts of not belonging or not being worthy. It's just like that simple thing of like, what parts of us don't feel worthy of having what we want? And, for a lot of us, this is healthy, loving relationships, and good working lives, a balanced, sustainable life. So Pisces, that's your reading for the month of June. I hope it resonates with you. Let me know if it does. I love reading your guys' comments. It's amazing to get to know people through the internet. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and a little bit of Facebook. I tend to just share the Instagram stuff through to the Facebook. I'm not actually on that app at all very much, but I'm posting there via other apps. But I'm mainly just posting on Instagram and TikTok. But my favorite is still the YouTube, mainly because I don't get sucked into these kind of like, I can watch sort of hour-long or 3-hour. I shared it on the community page, but I watched a really, really amazing interview with someone named Terrence Howard, who I do recognize as an actor from films like back in the Disney. But really, really, it's sort of supercharged a lot of the flow of insight that I was vibing back like 2018, 2019. Which is, again, this kind of creatorship field, but how to interpret it and or understand it within all these different pieces of like the false economy, trauma, generational trauma, generational rising of power, collective paradigm shift. So we're looking at these different themes and endeavoring to kind of break it down to make it ingestible and understandable, so that this transformational process isn't so blind or painful, that we can continue to rise and come together to sort of almost speed up the quantum shifting, because that's also how the quantum reality works, as one, so the whole. So these risings that we're all going through are really kind of percolating through the collective, and onwards and upwards kind of thing, but as one with the historical depth of our darkness as well, and the potential for corruption. Oh, may peace be with us all, and also with you, MJ. Oh, thank you very much. Have a great month, Pisces. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being my internet friends and supporting All to Love. It's appreciated. I really just wish there was more love in the world, hence All to Love. If everybody could rise in love, that would be great. Okay, holla shazam. Have a good one, Pisces. Take care. Peace out.